Hi, how are you guys? It's your favorite professor, Pam Turner, and welcome to the new normal. I thought you might be really upset with not seeing my face every day this week, so I thought, let me just show my face. Seriously, guys, I know that you're all really feeling extremely overwhelmed and chaotic and wondering what life is going to be like. I can tell you that school will return as normal as possible as we get through this. So, what will happen in this class is every week you will still have your current event, as long as our, our current chapters that are due. We are currently on chapter 7. You did receive the PowerPoints for chapter 7. They were emailed to you earlier in the school year. You received all the PowerPoints. So at this week, you'll have a weekly post, the same as our weekly discussion, as well as your current event. You will see in the online chat that you will post the link to your current event. You will discuss your current event, and then two peers, you must respond to two peers on your thoughts of their current event in order for us to get things together. You will have to do some Zoom or some Skype discussions with me. I'm looking at planning that for next week to give everybody a time. I'll send you a link to download it, and therefore we will make sure that we have that so we can actually get some face-to-face action. I do plan on looking at that at regular 30 or 9:30 class time. So if you could clear your schedules for next week for your regular class time, so we will have some Zoom discussions, and that way we can ask each other questions and maybe just bond since we're all stuck in our house. I just wanted to go over a little bit about Chapter 7. Again, you do have your text as well as having the PowerPoint that goes with it. But Chapter 7 really looks at the political view and how we take policy, how we take a federal a good idea that social workers would have and it become policy. So this totally talks about how policies are created. So as you know, food stamps, welfare, TANF, all of those things are federal government policies that were implemented, and also by people that are boots on the ground, the social workers that are very hands-on. So that means that someone somewhere, a group of people, had to come up with some rules. And many times you go to pick up your food stamps and you're so mad at the government. It's not the government. The government just implemented what some wonderful social workers thought. So as you look at things like um, the first one is to define social welfare policy and agent policy. You'll talk about what that looks like. Explore the process of policy development. Look how policies are developed. And I'm going to include a link to Schoolhouse Rock and how a bill becomes a law, if you remember that. But that's the policy we go by. How to identify how social work programs are structured, who gets what, who determines who gets what, how critical thinking is part of policy information, and explore values and how they affect policy development. And finally, propose a model for analyzing how these are appropriate. So describe practice policies and advocacy, and then we're going to identify the methods that social workers can use in policy practice. What's interesting as you read this chapter, go over the PowerPoint, you'll find that most of us think that only the poor get some sort of social assistance or social welfare, and that's just not true. There are things that are means tested. That's how much you make. So those are, of course, your food stamps and maybe Medicare for your children. However, things such as public school, public library, Pell Grant, Pell loans, those are all federal funds that everyone qualifies for. You'll also notice that Social Security is a federal funded mandate. And that's not based on income. So it's based on points. So if you work at least 10 quarters, I believe that's about 10 years in your lifetime, then you retire, you'll be qualified for those. And if you don't get those based on your income, you're entitled to then Social Security for the needy. So do know those are part of government policies, and they were all implemented under the auspices with some help of some very wonderful social workers. This is called the macro social work. That means big picture, where you're not just working with that one person, you're talking about many, many different people. Okay, guys. Again, so you will be posting your answer. There'll be a question in this chat. You'll be sure to post that answer in this chat. Same thing, respond to two of your peers. This initial chat is due by Wednesday, and by Friday of the week, then you do have to respond to 2 of your peers. That's the way it'll work this week. So everything for every class will be due on Friday by midnight. I do suggest you don't get behind because you know how 5 classes and everything is due at the same time. So I appreciate that. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you shortly.